My goodness, we are finally in Israel, of all the places there is to visit. I wouldn't say Israel was high on my list. I thought it's a place I'll visit one day, but not like quite yet. Here I am, and my goodness, the Bible stories will never be the same again. Like, if you get a chance to visit Israel, you would never see the Bible stories the same. At some point, we'll have to come shopping.
But their boys here are fine.
Oh, yeah. The guys are good looking.
Separate one. Because I don't know if this is the city. Are we in the city? This is Jerusalem. I think
the street smells like New York.
Oh, have you been in New York?
The last time I went was when I went with you guys. After we were done checking into the hotel, we decided to go grab a bite. We went to this restaurant called Philadelphia, and I tell you, it was legit. We got some royal treatment over there. So to start day 2, we had a whole day tour planned to visit Bethlehem and the Dead Sea.
Downstairs is Palestinian house. Up there, this is Israeli house. Electric wall, they became between Palestinian house and between Israeli house. Palestinian like me is not allowed for me to enter Jerusalem. I need special permission from Israeli to enter. As Israeli, if they want to come here, they need a special permission from Palestine. But if you Palestine, like your driver, born enter Jerusalem, it's allowed for him to come here without any permission. That's why. You heard about the 3 wise men, 3 kings, 3 Persian. They came from the east. They used.
I will be the first to admit I did not even know the dynamic that existed in Israel. So I left feeling like I need to go home and do some homework to understand the dynamic that existed in Israel. Anyways, when we were done seeing this place, we decided to go to Shepherd's Field. This is where they had a bunch of caves here, actually, where the angels supposedly lived in, and we toured most, if not all, of the caves around there. And after that, we went and saw a bunch of paintings in the different churches that they had there. When we left that location, we went to another location that also has a lot of meaning in Bethlehem, and this is what you see here. I think I have something that talks about like the Berlin Wall, because you could see the separation between Palestine and Jerusalem. It's just a wall.
What do you have to do to get a special permission?
If you want to go to the hospital, if your wife,
that's what
yes,
okay.
only like.
Oh, you work there too, right?
If you work there, yes.
But why is that?
That's complicated.
Complicated, very complicated. I can't.
You can't talk about it.
He really, he can.
That's okay.
Hold on, because they're in the. He's still in the way.
Nate, did you get that? And that's an original painting of a guy named Banksy. I didn't know about him.
Animal interpreters, when they came Ottoman, Turkish, in 16th century, they do it like that. Why they do it like that? Because 2 reasons. First reason, no animal enter the church. Second reason, for respect. When we enter the church, we must bow. Why? To respect this place, Jesus born here. That's why we call this entrance humble door. Because
so I found something interesting about this church. Apparently there is an Armenian side and there is a Christian side. And each of these sides have their own babe Jesus in them. Very interesting.
Really?
After dipping our feet in the Jordan River, we're finally on our way to the Dead Sea. I am super excited about this location. After all the cool stuff I heard about floating on the Dead Sea, I could not wait to just get in there and lay down. That was amazing. Everyone should at least do that once in their lifetime. Just being able to float on that water, it's crazy. And then how salty it is. I actually googled it when I got back. It's 9.6 times saltier. So another cool stuff I learned about the Dead Sea that I was looking forward to was just using the mud. I heard it had a lot of healing powers, and I just cannot wait to put it all over myself.
Oh Lord.
Talk about salty. Some of that salty water like drained into my eyes and it burned like hell. I had to literally get out of the water, go wash off, and then come back to continue application. That thing stung.
Woo! I hope you don't react to this thing, honestly, because it's gonna be funny. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, rashes? What the hell happened?
Clearly somebody was having fun, hoping and wishing I don't get rashes. Drum roll. Check out that afterglow. I'm very happy with the results. Like, if you could touch my skin, it felt like butter, literally. And that was the end of day 2.
During that century,
day 3, I went out on a self-guided tour of old Jerusalem.
And a few things came to light that suggested that this was perhaps an alternative site for those events surrounding Jesus Christ. It's enclosed within a church called the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Sepulchre meaning a grave. Didn't. They kept it as a garden. And the British took it over as a charity. And anyway, there's 2 big holes in the rock. Not that one up there.
I see it.
Right
This one right here.
Okay. And it says in the scriptures, in John chapter 19, that they brought Jesus out to a place called Golgotha, which in Aramaic, it means, you can see it a lot more clearly. The 2 eyes there, and the nose, and then it used to go down here. Now, since that time, they've created the Arab bus station, which is, they did it with bare feet apparently. We'll go down to the tomb now.
After I was done visiting the Garden of Tombs, I decided to take a walk down to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. On my way there, I saw the 7th station. You know, throughout this trip, one thing that I wished I had the opportunity to do was to just stop and take it in. I just felt like I had like seconds to take it in. Imagine just walking through the 7th station, Jesus fell. All I could think about was, wow, this really happened here. But I didn't even have enough time to process. That's actually one thing I wish that I had a chance to do. And I was telling my husband that if we ever got a chance to go back to Jerusalem or Israel again, that would be something that I make time for, is to just really take it. My next stop was Western Wall, and I actually went to Western Wall on a Saturday, which is Sabbath. And apparently on Sabbath, you're not allowed to use electronic devices in the pray area, and I actually got yelled at for doing that. This place is actually really nice, and all I could think about was, is this where King David was when he was scoping out Bathsheba? It was actually super nice. At the topmost of the building, you could literally see the entire city, and I thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, when we were done, somewhere along the way, I met up with my cousin and my aunt, and when we were finally done for the day, we went home and we had a good meal at the restaurant and call it a day. And of course, my mother-in-law had to send me cute little pictures of my baby girl, which was cool. After this, on day 4, we also did a self-guided tour to Tel Aviv. We got on the train. It was a very interesting day. But anyways, I had 2 missions. I wanted to go to the beach and I wanted to see Carmel market. And that's we hung out at the beach for the most part of the day, just chit-chatting. Actually, here I learned how to say thank you in Hebrew and in Arabic. which would be shukra and tuda. So anyways, that's my language lesson for today. And then we headed out to Carmel market. It was actually very nice. It reminded me of just Nigeria and just having an open market. And funny enough, at this market, I heard them playing some Nigerian music. I mean, in more than 2 stores. Actually, in 2 stores, I heard them playing Nigerian music. I could not believe it. I thought it was dope. I stopped at the market to have myself a shawarma, a beef shawarma. It was delicious. I mean, I'm so glad I stopped for this. I think it was the most authentic food I've had so far. Need I mention the transportation system in Israel is really good. You could take the train or the bus to anywhere. We had an interesting trip that morning taking the train. I'll spare you the long story, but we ended up taking a taxi home that day. Today was our last full day in Israel, and we had a whole day tour plan that started off at 5:30 in the morning. The plan was to go to Nazareth and the Sea of Galilee. Our tour guide was very funny. I actually enjoyed him a lot. And on this trip, I earned the name, the Queen of Sheba. He kept on calling me the Queen of Sheba the whole time, which I thought was cool. But when I finally came home and I was telling my dad the story of how this tour guy would not stop calling me the Queen of Sheba, he was like, oh my goodness, do you know who the Queen of Sheba is? And I got the lowdown and I was like, oh, all right. I did earn myself a name on this trip. Everybody that's taking a trip with me knows that something iconic
this is
always happens.
Baum,
including earning myself the name Queen of Sheba.
That's the 150, Bangladesh, 1871. What is the problem with this tree? No problems. You know what's the advantage of this tree? He gets the water from the Luft. Hydrophonic. That's it. That's how you get the water. You don't have to irrigate the tree. And the second thing, if you have a neighbor that you don't like them, you plant ficus trees. You know why? Because the roots, the Wurzeln, will go underneath the flow of your neighbor. So he will wake up and say, what happened? On the top, the church on the top, because they're going down. And this is the mikveh, ritual bath. Ritual bade. That's a mikveh, and I'm going to show it to you. Every house has a mikveh. The mikveh in general is on the top, on the roof. The touch kann man nicht beruhigen, diese Wasser, nur Regenwasser, Nummer 1. Nummer 2. 7 Treppen, geht runter, bis zu der mikveh.
The original entrance to the house of Jesus and Mary and Joseph.
Here, Herodes. He was burning the life of those rabbis. And now we are waiting to turn to the left. It's a beautiful area over here. And our next...
After seeing the Church of the Annunciation, we stopped for lunch. And what this place is known for is the St. Peter's fish. Remember Jesus and Peter at the Sea of Galilee? We had to have some St. Peter's fish. After we were done with lunch, we went to the ice cream store and got some ice cream.
Jüdische Leute, okay? And that's the Jordan River that brings water from the melting snow. Schmelzt Schnee. Oben 60 Kilometer mit dem Jordanfluss bis zum hier. So the inlet of the Eingang von der Jordanfluss is here. Wir werden mit dem Bus durchgehen auf eine Brücke, das ist hier. So all the water here is süße Wasser. Spring water, that comes from the north and goes all the way to the bottom. The length is 20 kilometers, the width is 7 kilometers, and the depth 44 meters maximum.
You're fine.
What is this suitcase doing here? Come on. This is the amount of Beatitudes. And you can see the church built it up like 8 octagonal, 8. And you see the bigger one over here. This was in the house of the mother-in-law of Peter. The church, of course, was not in use when the Persians came over here, but this is what was built up on a private house of the mother-in-law of Peter. How do you know the family is arme Leute? Is they not rich? How do you know? Welcome, Jews.
With Zacchaeus. This is a sycamore tree.
And here, you can see over here 3 different. Here's where the mule, steer, or bull, animal, push it around. Now, what is the problem with the wine? With the 2 jars of olives. What is the problem with the olives?
Queen of Sheba. Queen of Sheba. Queen of Sheba. I've earned it on this trip. Hallelujah. Finally, we stopped at the Jordan River and some people got baptized here. I didn't. I've already been baptized. Overall, I would say this trip was life-changing and I would definitely do it again just for the purposes of being able to stop and just soak it in. I acted like a tourist the entire trip, just wanting to see as much as there was to see, wanting to take pictures and move on to the next scene. And throughout this experience, I just had this urge to want to stop and internalize what really happened here. And I just never made the time to. And should I come back again, that will be something that I prioritize the most.